Hey guys, this is Miss Hoffmaster. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm showing you guys today how to go ahead and use a site called Picmonkey.com to go ahead and edit your photos that you took in class this past week. So all you're going to go ahead and do is type in your search bar www.picmonkey.com. All right. So when you go to Picmonkey, either you can go to the top where it says edit, okay, or down here in the ad, you can go ahead and click edit a photo. So I'm going to go up to the top, click edit, and I'm going to choose a photo from my computer. All right, let's pick a photo of Allie, because you guys know I love doing stuff with Allie. All right, I'll go ahead and do this one. All right, so got it. Anyways, okay, so this is a super cute video of Allie, or a photo of Allie, but it's a little bit dark around the face. So one of the easiest ways that you can kind of use this site to make your photos even better is just click Auto Adjust. Okay, now what Auto Adjust does is it kind of checks out your layers, it looks at your lighting, it brightens certain areas. Now the only thing I don't like about this is when I clicked Auto Adjust is it brightened up her outfit a lot, but if you look at her face, which for me, her face is more important and it's what I want my focal point to be. Okay, and if you remember, your focal point's the first thing you want the viewer's eye to go to. Okay, so it really darkened her face up, but it brightened up her clothes. So if I don't like how the auto adjust works, if you go right down here, I hover over this, it says undo the last action. As soon as I click that, my photo goes back. All right, so I need to start working on how to make my photo look a little bit better. So the first thing we're going to show you guys how to do is crop. Okay, now as I drag the crop tool over my photo, okay, you guys might remember from the video series learning about the rule of thirds. Okay, now when you open up a crop tool, you're going to notice that it gives you 9 boxes. And on these 9 boxes, you get those points that the videos were talking about, where you want to make sure your focal point isn't exactly in the middle, but it kind of falls on one of these points. Well, I want Allie's face to be my focal point. So I'm going to kind of drag this up here until I get her face right there in the middle. Okay, after I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and click apply. Boom. Okay, now we've got this nice closer shot of just my sweet baby girl's face. Okay, and it's right there on that where the 2 lines cross. Okay, this next option right here is canvas color. Okay, if I go ahead and do this, it kind of lets you play with background colors. Okay, we're going to skip that for today. Okay, rotate. Okay, if you don't like the orientation of your photo, you can go ahead and flip it. Okay, either rotate left or right. Maybe you went ahead and, like with Allie's photo, she's a little crooked, so if I wanted to straighten her out or rotate her just slightly within the frame, I could. Okay, this option right here, it flips her so it goes to the opposite side. So if I like her on the right instead of the left, I can. It's like a mirror image. And this one does the same thing, but it goes up and down. Okay, I like how Allie is. I like where her face is. Yeah, I like her face right there. Okay, exposure. Okay, so exposure is something that we kind of talked about in class a little bit. If you look here, you're going to see a lot of familiar vocab words from when we were doing our hand project. Highlights and shadows. Remember, your highlights are your bright areas, your shadows are your dark areas. Contrast is using those two opposites together to really optimize your photo. Okay, if I drag the contrast all the way up, all you get is these extreme brights and extreme darks, and you don't get those middle shades. Okay, whereas if I go all the way to the other side, notice how everything went gray. It's because there's no contrast. There's no difference between the dark and the light. Okay. I can kind of bring hers up just a little bit. Okay, with the shadows, I don't want to go too dark because Allie's face, if you notice, it's already a little bit in the corner right here because this post that's in her pack and play blocks the light. So if I go ahead and if I increase her shadows too much, it's going to darken her face up again, which is what that auto adjust did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to notice how the number's getting higher. I'm backing down the shadows. which is allowing her face to get a little bit brighter. Okay, and I can come in here with the highlights and kind of bring that up, and now we can see Allie's facial features just a little bit better. Okay, brightness, just overall, it makes your photo a little bit brighter. If I would go all the way to the right with this and I put it at 100% brightness, you're going to get this complete whiteout. Okay, whereas if I go all the way to the back to the left, and it's negative 100, you've got these huge dark areas and only the absolute brightest areas still shine through. Okay, so I'm going to return it back to 0. 0 is your middle. It's where your photo was when you first uploaded it. Okay, colors. So saturation is how much color is in the photo, if you will. It's how rich your colors are almost. So if I up the saturation of the photo, you're going to notice that anything that has red in it, all of a sudden those reds come out a lot. Now, Allie in her photo, she's got this pink giraffe. She's got a pink blanket, some little pink designs on her blanket. Okay, so when I put it at 0, okay, you kind of notice how that those are a little bit duller. If I want to go ahead and just up the saturation just a little bit, you can see that the rosiness in her cheeks comes out a little bit more, and her giraffe. Whenever you guys are playing with these, you want to do it very, very gradually. If you go too fast, okay, you're not going to get a really good gauge or a really good fix. Most of the time when you're playing with these little levels right here and you're still looking for a really good natural photo, you want to go slow. Okay, temperature, okay, that's referring to warm or cool colors. Okay, notice that when I go to the right, okay, all of a sudden I've got this kind of warm temperature to it. Okay, it looks like it has a yellow kind of hazy light over top. Whereas if I go to the left, it kind of has a cooler temperature. Okay, now temperature is awesome for going ahead and setting the mood for your photos. Okay, so remember how we kind of talked about what colors can make us feel things, and we kind of look at the warmer colors. Okay, it kind of gives us this kind of glowing memory. Whereas if we kind of go to the cooler colors, it kind of makes us a little bit sadder. Okay, now because this is a photo of Allie, I definitely want to go more towards the warm side. Okay, and I'm going to warm up her photo just a tad. I don't want to go all the way over because she looks kind of like a carrot when I go all the way to the right. So I'm just going to add just a touch in there. Okay, and then I'm going to click apply. Make sure whenever you get it set just right, you click apply, because if you don't, you click off of it, you're going to lose everything you did. Okay, sharpen. What sharpness does is it kind of, the edges of your photo, it makes some more defined edges, if you will. Okay, if you up the sharpness too much, you're going to get kind of a grainy photo. Okay, and if we look in at Allie's photo, if I would zoom in, you can kind of see how it almost looks more pixelated when I up the sharpness too much. You see how that works? Clarity does something very similar too. Okay, where it just kind of brings out individual colors, and sometimes it can make it a little bit too harsh. Okay, resize, that's if for some reason, say that you're uploading this to a site, or you're trying to go ahead and it has a size requirement, you can go ahead and change the size to fit whatever you would need. That's usually a little bit more towards graphic design, which you will not need for this project. All right, so this whole time we've been on these little bars and it says basic edits. Okay, if we go down to the next one, I'm pretty sure this is what you guys all like. These are the effects, or as you would, these are your filters. Okay, so if you see the little crown here on the bottom left, it says this is a royal feature. That's something you'd have to pay for, which we're not doing that today, guys. If you want to do that on your own time, go for it, but talk to your parents first. Okay, so filters. I know filters are fun, but don't just click something because it looks cool. Okay, try and go for something that actually enhances your photo. So this one, it's called Orton. Okay, when I go over top of her photo, it gives me this little brush option. Okay, what I can do is I can actually erase the filter just from a specific area. Okay, why do you think we'd probably want to erase it from just a specific area? More than likely, you're going to want to erase it from a specific area to go ahead and be able to highlight something. Okay, so just for an example, cancel. All right, so let me go ahead and do the reverse effect. So everything in the photo is just the regular without the filter, and now my brush, whenever I click reverse effect, it's going to apply the filter to that area. Okay, so if I go over Allie's face with just the filter, Okay, she kind of sticks out a lot. Okay, unfortunately with this filter, she looks like an Oompa Loompa. Okay, so we're going to take that off of her. All right, this one's called Cross Process. Okay, and I can go ahead and add a blue or a red or a green over top. Okay, fade, it depends on how strong you want it. Okay, the higher I put it in, or the higher I put the fade in, okay, that's essentially like having no fade whatsoever over top. Okay, so remember, you've got that brush option there that if you want to go ahead and just take it off a certain area to go ahead and emphasize an area, you can. Okay, but make sure that you have an artistic reason for doing it. You're not just doing it because it looks cool or because you want to put a filter on. Okay, you will lose points on your project if you do it just because. All right, brush size. Okay, if I increase the brush size, it makes my brush bigger. Decrease it, I can do it for really small areas. So if I wanted to go ahead and this one called Dusk. Okay, maybe I want to clarify just her eyes. Okay, and maybe the giraffe. I don't know why just the giraffe. Okay, but it's nice having that really small brush to get that really specific area for the giraffe if I want to help make it pop. Okay, hardness, okay, makes it so it's just that very specific area. See how that little area pops out? Okay, whereas if I go to the opposite and it's a very soft brush, okay, it has kind of blurred out edges, so it's a little bit more of a gradual change. All right, and you guys can play with all the different filters. You don't need me to go through all the different ones. The last thing I'm going to show you guys is you've got some more basic ones down here like black and white, okay, which this is kind of a cool option. You can do the color picker to manipulate the contrast of your black and white. This controls and mimics the color filters. So if you want to go ahead and we can do a reverse effect where you can have just certain things be in black and white. Okay, or if I want to go ahead and just have one thing pop out, this is a great way of creating a focal point. Because once I go ahead and I go over top, say I wanted your giraffes for some reason to be the focal point. Okay, when I erase the black and white there, the first thing your eye goes to is that giraffe. Okay, now obviously my focal point for this isn't the giraffe. Okay, it's Allie's face. And because I put it where those two cross lines were in the top left corner, okay, I really don't need to do anything else with it. All right. Let me go ahead and show you with sepia. Okay, you've got something called brush strength here. Okay, so what that means is that maybe I don't want it to 100% get rid of the filter. Okay, so if I want to take off just a little bit, okay, I can take down the brush strength. So that way it's almost like it adjusts the filter just a bit. Or just takes a little bit of it off. Okay, and I can do that for just a partial area so that I can kind of highlight Allie's face and have the rest kind of blur out. Okay, and remember, if you don't want something to click, either click cancel or click undo the last action. Okay, if you need to see a smaller area, you can always zoom in or zoom out for a bigger area. Okay, bokeh shapes, these are kind of like your light bursts. Remember, once again, there's almost no reason whatsoever to use this one. You'd have to find a very good artistic reason to go ahead and use that. Focal black and white, if you want to make just one area color and a whole black and white photo, this one does it more of a radius. I like the black and white filter and using the brush to kind of eliminate it from a certain area. Yes, it does take longer, but I think it's cleaner and it looks a little nicer. You can also focal pixelate. So if you want to pixelate the entire photo except for one area, you can do that. Okay. Focal zoom. Okay. Where you can go ahead and zoom in on one area and everything else. It kind of gives it that blur effect, almost like a car racing by. Okay, you also have the draw option, which if you need to erase a certain area, you can, but for this project, there shouldn't be any erasing. All right, so Next option. Okay, so if you have any pictures of people in here, this is where you could go ahead and fix if you had any blemishes like zits or unsightly areas. For this so far, there's only been a couple people really to put themselves in their photos, so that shouldn't be a big issue. There's teeth whiten. Most of these we would get into later when we do our self-portraits, which, funny enough, will be your next project. Okay, so once we get into our self-portraits, if you need to go ahead and you want to touch up some areas, this is a great site to go to. Okay, next one down is text. Okay, do not put text in this photo. Do not put text in this photo. Okay, if you come back to this for another project, there's a lot of great text that you can go ahead and put over, but for this project, do not put text in your photo. Okay, this is called overlays, and as you can see, these first few up here all have the little crown on them, so those are added extras. But if we go ahead and go down, you get some extra ones in here. So, like for example, there's sparkle stars. Okay, this is another one, guys. I'm going to say kind of stay away from for this project because we're really trying to keep it realistic as possible. Okay, but if you're interested, this is how you do the overlays. Okay, if you put something down, you want to go ahead and erase it, you can go ahead and click over it. If you want to make it bigger, you can drag it out. Okay, but if you are trying to get rid of it, you can go ahead, click on it, and just delete, and it's gone. Okay, if you do find a reason that you do need to use one of these, please make sure that you have a good artistic reason for doing so. Because or I thought it looked cool is not going to fly with me. All right, frames. You can go ahead and add a frame around yours if you so choose. Okay, but once again, just like I've said with anything else, you want to make sure you have an artistic reason for doing so. Textures, you can go ahead and add a texture over top, but just like we've said on everything else, you need to go ahead and make sure you have an artistic reason, not just because it looked cool. Because you could take a really nice high-end photo that looks great, and then once you put this over top, it just kind of takes away from your photo, and all anyone can see is your filter. Okay? All right, so these are different theme ones. So we've got zombies, vampires, Day of the Dead. This would be more for, your more Halloween-y stuff if you wanted to go ahead and come in here and do specific ones. This one it calls bone color, but really all it's doing is just graying out her face, okay, which for this project does not do anything for me. This is more or less something you guys can kind of do for fun later on. I'm sure you guys are going to find, I'm going to find most of you guys taking pictures of yourself on your tablets and doing this some point in class. Okay, as long as you have all your stuff done, guys, I don't mind if you play with the site. Just do make sure you have everything else done first. Delete. Does not want to delete. There you go. All right. So that's pretty much everything here. The next thing you're going to want to do is after you have everything adjusted, it's a good photo that you like, make sure you save. Okay, when you go to save, just pick the middle option, which is called Pierce. Okay, if you go to Roger, it has a lower quality photo that it saves, and Sean is a higher quality photo. The higher quality your photo is, the more memory it's going to take up on your laptop. Okay. Go ahead and when you have the file name up here, give it a good file name. So I would call this one, let me delete all of that, Allie Giraffe Final. Okay, and then I'm going to save it to my computer. Okay, and I can pick whatever folder I want to put it in, which I have a folder just for Allie on my computer. So I'm going to go ahead and save it to her file. Okay, it says masterpiece saved, so I'm good to go. All right, thank you so much, guys.